Welcome to my YouTube channel, Bachelor and Master English. Are you new to this channel? If so, please subscribe it. Today we are talking about Functions of a Teacher by Bertrand Russell. Functions of a Teacher talks about the profession of teaching and teachers being used as the means of propaganda. Here, Russell is spreading light on the issue that teaching is the most respectable profession, but the governments are using teachers as slaves or as tool to spread propaganda, to spread their revolutionary ideas, not the ideals of teacher. They are not letting the teachers to spread their ideals. They are not, getting the teachers to talk about what they need for the preparation of their life. And governments are using teachers what they are intending to spread their ideology. According to Russell, teaching is not different from slavery. Teachers these days do not talk about revolutionary ideas, nor do they help students to increase their creativity, which they have ever in abundance. But that creativity is lacking these days because they are crammed with certain ideas. They are forced to learn and follow those ideas. They are not encouraged to open to explore their creativity. In other words, they have no passion of teaching these days, and students do not have passion for learning. Teaching is just a boring profession or job for them since they have no freedom, they have not free will. History is evident that teachers like Socrates were put to death. Likewise, Plato was thrown into prison. Regardless of that, they did not stop their doctrines. In modern world, situation is entirely opposite. In the entire essay, Russell wants to prove that functions of a teacher in modern society are very less, if they have any. They are beneficial for the state only. Only the states are benefiting, not the teachers, not the learners. He fears that teachers have no freedom at all. They can't teach as per their own desires, but as per the desires of their respective governments, which are not all democratic. Russell is of the view that in modern world, government has reduced functions of teacher. Russell is in favor of self-determination of teacher. He believes that the immense majority of education institutions are hampered and controlled by men who do not understand the work with which they are interfering. Russell at the same time is defending teachers. How Russell defends a teacher from becoming propagandist, means of spreading revolutionary ideas for the benefit of the leaders and politicians. But here he is in favor of teacher. He believes that teacher should be of unique identity. The only way to prevent totalitarianism in our highly organized world is to secure a certain degree of independence for bodies performing useful public work, and among such bodies, teachers deserve a foremost place. Teachers should have such noble, respectable position, and they have to be respected. They should not be used as a tool. They should not be the part of totalitarian government. They should be the forerunner of the civilization. Is so much fearing, so much worried about the existence of a teacher who can work with free will. He at the same time thinks that teachers are overworking and working as a part of job is inevitable. That's compulsory. But they have to get those students cram their courses, learn by heart those courses that the governments are forcing according to their curriculum. This says most teachers are overworked and are compelled to prepare their pupils for examinations rather than to give them liberalizing mental training. The result is that many of them become harassed and nervous, out of touch with recent work in the subjects that they teach, and unable to inspire their students with a sense of the intellectual delights to be obtained from new understanding and new knowledge. So, uh, they are not getting the students to teach those ideas, new knowledge, and for teaching they are overworking. And how overwork helps for the good result? That's the question. But governments are using teachers as slave and they are to overwork because they do not love teachers, they love students. They love the products, not the laborers. And teachers as laborers, tools, are not a matter of concern because they are the vehicle of implementing ideas to policies to the young children, young people. He has his own conclusion regarding the functions of teacher. Russell's philosophy saves a teacher becoming a tool in the hands of government. In conclusion of functions of teacher, he writes these lines at the end of the text or at the end of his composition. It reads thus: the function of a teacher, however, is not merely to mitigate the heat of current controversies. He has more positive tasks to perform, and he cannot be a great teacher unless he is inspired by a wish to perform these tasks. Teachers are more than any other class, the guardians of civilization. They should be intimately aware of what civilization is and desirous of imparting a civilized attitude to their pupils. So, this is what Russell writes as the conclusion of functions of teacher. Okay, let's talk about the essay in detail. The functions of a teacher is one of the most important and thought provoking essays that we are studying here, and the composition was done by Bertrand Russell, a great philosopher, mathematician, and Nobel laureate. This essay compels the reader to think about the real function of a teacher and to ponder that am I a well taught, well instructed person? The teaching profession has almost completely changed these days than the olden days. Though the teaching profession has an honorable tradition from prehistoric time to today's world, yet it is quite different in nature and methodology now. In olden days, the function of a teacher was to inculcate in his students the ideas he considered to be good and mature, but these days, a teacher has become like a propagandist a person to spread revolutionary ideas of his employers. His only function is to freeze the teachings which are now in favor of bureaucrats and politicians of the state. But the state controlled education can turn men into unthinking fanatics and his own survival. The teacher must play the fact which the state cuts out for him in this task. According to Russell, the most important function of a teacher is to inculcate in his pupils beliefs which are wise and sensible. In his mature opinion, in antiquity, teachers had comparatively greater freedom, but in modern times, this freedom and self determination exist Only at a handful of great historic universities, the teacher of today's world is not expected to teach what he believes to be right, but only what his employers decide that he should teach. He has no freedom to choose the content. He has no freedom to prepare the curriculum, and he has no freedom to choose the methods of evaluation. Everything is already determined. Teacher is just using the tool. There is a vehicle, and teacher is a driver, and just the engines are all okay, fuel is okay. Teachers are only to drive, but the road is already there, and teachers don't have to show the path, and the road is already there, the vehicle is already there, and everything is already there, and only the teacher has to lead in the given or shown path, shown direction. The teacher of today is not expected to teach what he believes to be right, but only what his employees decide that he should teach. That's the thing. This attitude can never produce good thinkers of a nation as well as of the world. A teacher should remain aloof from strife of political parties. He should be neutral and impartial in his teaching. He should work without prejudice, no halo effect uh, on the part of his judgment. Russell thinks that the teacher's real function lies in letting the child develop his inborn capacities, inborn faculties, and encouraging the kindly impulses that are latent in him. Otherwise, thwarting of natural impulses can breed cruel and selfish urges in the child and make him grow up into a criminal or an antisocial creature. Modern psychology affirms and agrees to his viewpoint. Russell stresses that teachers should act as guardians of civilization. They should spread and promote the culture of a mind. A true teacher must rise above material considerations and must be the real safeguards against the possibility that uh, the civilization may vanish shortly. His civilization, their civilization, what we talk about Western civilization. The teacher must rise above the temptation of flattering the prejudices of those in authority or power, even if he can improve his professional prospects by doing so. A teacher can be great only if he is fired by the passion to perform positive tasks. He must have feelings to warm affection towards his pupils and a genuine desire to impart to them what he himself believes to be true and valuable. As matters of standard, teachers are unable to do their best for a variety of reasons. One is that they have to overwork, which creates tiredness and monotonous feelings in them. Teachers do not overwork themselves as well as to compel the students to do so. This overworking doesn't bring good results. It doesn't encourage the teachers and students for creative and constructive ideas. Students should not be prepared only for examination, but they must have the thirst and hunger for the real knowledge. Is useful for their future life, for the survival, not for the grades or certificates. According to Russell, teacher must above all inculcate a spirit of tolerance in his pupils, which would enable them to bear and understand manners as well as strange people. Ignorant tolerance is the very reverse of civilization. Teachers are the agents of civilization in this world, making people courageous, bold, and learned in whatever has gone and whatever may come. Therefore, Every teacher should impart true knowledge to the students. He should teach objective realities, being impartial and neutral. He should not surrender before state or dictator. Rather, he should instill the teaching of freedom and tolerance to produce a healthy nation. Russell, as influential and controversial writer, is challenging the government's ideology. Russell doesn't want teachers to become the tool and doesn't want them to be influenced to influence others. He wants the teachers to be free, teachers to be independent, teachers to be the people of moderate work, teachers to be good professional, and they should avoid those controversies that politicians create for spreading propaganda, for spreading revolution. And here, Russell had been influential and controversial figure almost all his life. His main purpose in life had to challenge, to question, and to debate. He was a great skeptic and a great popularizer of ideas. And here also he is popularizing his ideas. His profound ideas as a brilliant philosopher had challenged those totalitarian or those anti-democratic politicians or statesmen, and what he considered dogmatic authority as one of the greatest obstacles to human progress. Here also, in this essay, Russell is of the idea he has considered dogmatic authority, totalitarian authority, or undemocratic or authoritarian authority as one of the greatest obstacles to human progress and civilizations. As we see, his comments on sex, marriage, politics, religion, science, psychology, philosophy, socialism, education, Christ, Marx, Buddha, and host of other topics are pithy, pungent, and witty. This essay is not out of these characteristics. And what we can see, like in other essays, his style is clear, lucid, witty, and full of candor. In the functions of a teacher, Russell dwells at length. The teacher has lost his freedom and independence of nation and decision in totalitarian countries. Even in democratic countries, these dangers are present. Teacher has to fight dogmatism wherever it exists. The teacher should not accept dogmatism. Teachers, to be effective, should stand outside the stripe of parties. No political attachment for the teachers. They should inculcate in the young minds the habit of impartial inquiry, inquisitiveness. As guardians of civilization, teachers should impart a civilized attitude to their pupils. Truth, beauty, and goodness is what constitutes civilization, because truth, beauty, and goodness are three characteristics of philosophy. And he means philosophy means civilization, because his philosophy is oriented to establishment of the good civilization. Teachers should have a warm feeling for his pupils and should impart to them what he himself believes to be of value. Teachers should rid pupils of their psychological complexities to enable them to spread happiness. Many teachers are unable to do the best of which they are capable of. Teachers should never conceal truth from their pupils. To tell lies to the young is morally wrong. Teachers should try to produce in their pupils tolerance for people who are different from them. Russell bemoans that teachers are not always free to teach as they would wish. Russell is very much sad. He is bemoaning that teachers are not always free to teach as they would wish. They have not got chance to express themselves. They have not got chance to get the children be ready for facing the future independently and working for the future of humanity. To make this our world safe for democracy, teachers have to secure a certain degree of independence for themselves and their work. Teacher is the guardian of the nation. He should impart true knowledge to the students. He should teach objective realities being impartial and neutral. He should not surrender before state or dictator. Rather, he should instill the teaching of freedom and tolerance to produce a healthy nation. His philosophy is acceptable. Teachers are facing several kinds of problems. Students of every country are taught that their religions, customs, nations, and countries are better than the others. Teachers hide one side of the story and teach only the other side in order to ensure a successful civilized future. Every teacher and nation should reconsider their methods of teaching, and they should let the teachers choose their methods of teaching, choose their topics of teaching, to choose their curriculum, and they should be given the chance to evaluate on the basis of their teaching and learning. They should follow Russell and adopt his methodology for a better future. But Russell is very much sad. Russell is very much worried because the countries are not, the nations are not, or the politicians are not providing. Politicians are not in favor of teachers. They are against teachers. They are using the teachers as tools to spread their revolutionary ideas and establish the policies they are trying to enforce. Okay, I think you have got the points regarding functions of a teacher. What Bertrand Russell has tried to express in his essay, Functions of a Teacher. And this functions of a teacher is very important essay in the context of modern world, because teachers are not given the chance to express, given freedom to. Russell accepts that education is necessary for everyone and given by the state, but boundaries should not be assigned to teachers. He further argues that in vast majority teachers have become civil servants. Teachers' only attitude towards education is of a propagandist means to spread revolutionary ideas on their political parts. Education in every country is different because it is based on propaganda. Bertrand Russell gives some suggestions in Functions of Teacher through which profession of teaching can be reverted from slavery to creativity and constructivity, and that would lead to intellectual revolution, intellectual enlightenment. His intention is to save teacher becoming a tool in the hands of the government. I think with the discussion, you got the points regarding Functions of a Teacher by Bertrand Russell. If you have any queries, you can put in my comment box. Thank you very much for accompanying me till my discussion.